Hello everybody, good morning to you on this very bright and a bit brisk but very bright Monday morning. Today I'm going to be making these little bow necklaces with you. You can see I'm wearing one here and it comes in an array of very pretty colours. So I'm going to be using some lovely glass pearls, some spacer beads and some little crystals. You can't really see the gorgeous black crystals against my black jumper, but I'm creating this little bow at the front. So very pretty and very nice, I think, for New Year or Christmas or any occasion. So we've got lots of colours available for you to choose from today. I will show you them on the website now and we'll get making. First of all, a very good morning to Anastasia who's watching us live, and Carol's in the chat as well. I hope you've all had a nice weekend. I hope you've been busy and getting ready for the festive period. Good morning to Fairness Born Rachel from a wet and windy Barrow. It's not wet and it's not windy at the moment, but it was last night. It was very windy actually last night. So these are the lovely necklaces that I'm going to be making with you today. I'm going to take you over to the website now and I will show you how they look. So if you head over to totallybeads.co.uk, you will find our video tutorials just here on the website, so you can click in these in whichever way you want to get into them. Head into the video tutorials and you'll see our lovely kits. We've got a little festive theme going on at the moment. Today is just bow pearl necklace, so if you click into that one, you will see all the lovely colours that we've got. Now these necklaces are £6.99 and we have, is it up? Is it showing? Yes, okay. So these are £6.99 for you today. But we do have an offer on if you would like to get two for £12. So we've got one in the buttermilk. So it's just named after the colour of the pearl. We've got the buttermilk, we've got the ivory, we've got an olive, we've got a powder blue, and we've also got a pink for you as well. If you click into the buttermilk, you'll see there with the silver spacers and these beautiful jet black crystals. So your kit is going to include all the materials to make one necklace, which will look like this. In terms of your sizes, your crystal round beads are 3mm in size. These ones are jet black shimmer. You've got your glass pearl round beads, which are 6mm. I'm using a magnetic clasp, which is 8mm in size, and I'm using lots of gorgeous spacer beads, which are 4mm in size, and these ones are silver. So your clasp is going to match as well as your jump rings. So in your kit, you're going to get 2 jump rings, you're going to get your magnetic clasp, you're going to get your nylon line, which is a 0.25. I'm using about 200 centimeters in the full necklace. So you can adjust that how you wish to in terms of your size. You can also change your clasp if you wanted to. So if you wanted to put an extended chain on the back of that, you absolutely can make that adjustable. But that's all the things that you're going to get in terms of your products inside this kit. So there is a 2 for £12 on as well. You can change and see if you need to. That offer will apply for anywhere, wherever you are in the world. And you can mix your colours if you wanted to, or make 2 different coloured necklaces up. This one is your ivory, so I'm using the ivory 6mm pearls in this. I've also got the 3mm in peach, and these are on the gold findings, which means your clasp and your space beads are going to come into that little pretty bow just there. You can also add some additional findings in if you wanted to. If you wanted to use a wire guardian, you could do, or if you wanted to use some culottes, you could do that way as well. I'm just going to be attaching my nylon thread straight onto the jump ring, onto the clasp. This one is the olive. Now in this one you can see I've got the beautiful olive 6mm pearls. I'm using sage green in the crystals and champagne gold for those lovely spacers. And that is how this one will look. So they're all the same price, whichever colour you choose. This one is the powder blue. And you can see how this one looks. Now this one, I've made a little mistake, but I think it works just as well. So my little mistake was I added in 2 little crystals into the bow. For my make, I'm just going to be doing 1, but and that bow will sit a little bit closer together. But if you wanted to add that extra one in, you absolutely can. But I thought I would, that was my first trial of it really, and then afterwards I thought, I prefer it with just the one, but I wasn't going to sit and redo that colourway. So I'm using the teal round in that, which is 3mm, your powder blue in your 6, and your silver spacer beads in the 4mm. And that is how that one looks. This is what I'm going to demonstrate for you today as well. So I will make a version of it with just the one. If you have a little look on the rose pink, you will see here that I'm usually just having that one additional little crystal in just to create that bow. So in this one, I've got a salmon pink AB, a rose pink in the glass pills, and the champagne spacers. So I'm just going to be making these really simple and elegant little loops, and then as they join together, they're going to create that little bow motif. Now the way I'm going to be making this, I will show you. I'm going to work from one side, and then I'm going to create the other side, and then I'm going to create the bow by joining them together. So it is a really straightforward, easy make, and I hope you'll agree that it looks very pretty. £6.99 today for your kits. Make the most of that offer if you would like to multi-buy. You could, of course, get 4 and get the double multi-buy if you wanted to. Good morning to Joanne. How are you doing? She's in a dull Sudbury. Good morning to Jan and Joanne, who's in, saying, I hope we've all had a lovely weekend. Good morning to Elaine. Good morning to Sheila. Hello to Mina. I hope your craft fair went well, Mina. Good morning to Nice. I hope you're doing well. Marty's in as well, all the way from Oklahoma. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to Maxine. Hello to Kath. Good morning to Esther in a dull Preston. Camille's in as well. She says it's grey again. Julie's here. And Sheila says they look very pretty. So I've got lots of you in today. These are the bow pearl necklaces. I've not given them a name. I've just called them bow. If I move them away, you can see those little jet black crystals in there. I think it looks quite nice against the jumper. You could change the length up of this if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. Hello, Anne. How are you doing? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you down on the mat. Hopefully my camera will work, and you can see I'm wearing the jet black one. This is the one I'm going to demonstrate for you today. We've got beautiful colours for you, and of course the one on the bust as well. They look better on because that bow hangs just beautifully. I really like this colour. So they're festive and they're pretty. What I will do is I'm just going to give that screen a little wipe and hope that that might clear the focus just a little bit. I do apologise. There you go. Is this looking a bit clearer? A little bit sharper. Okay, I'll put those away to the side for now, and we will start making. So I'll just pop them onto my bust, and I will get my nylon ready. So I'm going to take, to begin with, 100 centimetres of the nylon. That would probably work out to be just under 40 inches. Of course, you can use a shorter length. I just like to make sure I've got plenty to work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my nylon, and I've cut that. I know at the moment you can't see it too well on the mat. What I might do, just temporarily, is I might put this book down so you can see the colour of it a little bit better. That's a little better, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by attaching it to my clasp. So I'm going to take my magnetic clasp and I'm going to attach on my jump ring. I'm going to make sure my jump ring is fully closed. So you can't see the opening. It's as closed as much as possible because I'm going to be adding my nylon directly onto the jump ring. What you could do if you wanted to is you could use a culotte like I often use, or you could use a little wire guardian protector as well if you wanted. I'm going to try and turn the opening of the jump ring into half of my magnetic clasp. And I'm going to do that first, just so it's out the way. I'm then going to add that directly onto the nylon. And I'm going to take the two ends of that one long length of nylon, just to try and get that fairly centered. All I'm going to do then is just tie a little overhand knot. And again, if you want to make sure that your thread is as close to being in the center as you can take those two ends and hold them together and then just draw down that knot. So by holding those ends, my knot is fairly central. You can double knot it if you want to. Just a little overhand knot. And you could also, if you wanted to, bring it around through the jump ring again. Just taking it through the center, just to kind of double up that loop if you wanted to. But I'm just making sure the opening of the jump ring is kind of away from that knot so it doesn't slip through. Once I've knotted onto it, you won't see it because I'm going to have a bead up close to that anyway to cover it. But that will just make sure that when I'm first attaching it, it's not going to slip through. So when I'm happy that that is on, I'm going to take a spacer bead and I'm going to take both of the ends up together and I'm going to pick up one of my spacer beads and thread both of the ends through and push that up to the jump ring. Now, because I'm using the nylon thread, it's invisible, so you won't see it, but it's also sturdy enough, but it's got that nice kind of fluidity to it. I find if I was using something like a tiger tail, it would be, excuse me, if I'm using a tiger tail, it would be a little bit too sturdy when I'm bringing those threads back through. So the nylon, I find, is the nice kind of in between. Let me just get my window back up so I can see what you're all saying. If you've got any questions, do of course drop me a little message and I'll do my best to answer. So once I've put one spacer bead on, I'm going to split my ends out so I'm working off one at a time. So I'm just going to take one thread and I'm going to take two spacer beads, and they've got really nice large drill holes as well. I'm going to do two spacers, a pearl and a crystal. And then the same on the other side. Two spacers, a pearl and a crystal. And then going to take a spacer bead and just pop the spacer bead onto one tail end of my thread, and then take the other end and I'm going to pass that back through in the opposite direction. So it's going to go through the same bead, but they're going to cross over like so. And as I draw those threads away from each other, you can see I've created that little shape. And that is going to be my first loop. This will now be my pattern repeat. So two spacer beads, a lovely 6mm pearl, and one of my little crystals going onto one side. Picking up the other tail end, I'm going to add on the same two spacer beads, one lovely 6mm pearl, and a cute little shiny crystal. So they're just going to be very twinkly and catch the light as my necklace is worn. I'm going to take another spacer bead and I'm going to slide that onto one side, bring my other tail end of the thread through, the same drill hole of the same bead, just passing that back in the opposite direction so they cross over in the centre, and then draw them down, and that is my little loop pattern. So when I'm making this, I tend to make 14 of these little loop sections on each side. However, I think for today I'll make it a little bit smaller and I'll probably just go for 10. But if you're using 40 inches of the nylon on each side of your necklace, or 100 centimetres, you'll have plenty to work with. So 2 spacer beads, glass pearl, and a crystal. So I will show you during this tutorial how to make the full necklace using all the steps, but I have done a section which is, here's one I've made earlier, just to speed us up a little bit, because this is your nice repetitive, sliding all over the place. See, if I had a bead in mat in a different colour, that might be a little bit better. Using the book is a bit slidey, but it's good to give you that contrast so you can see what we're doing. Good morning, Yolanda. Hope you're having a lovely Monday in Michigan. And hello to Angela, who's going out to walk the dog while it's not raining. She says it's a really lovely necklace, really comfortable wear as well. And because I'm using the glass pearls in this, it's just really lightweight. So you do forget you've got it on. It's not heavy, even with these lovely spacers. And the magnetic clasp just makes it really easy to get on and off. So we're going to go for 2 spacers on each side. I'm not using a needle. If I was using maybe like a fire line, I might want a needle on there just to stiffen the thread a little bit, but because I'm using the nylon, it's giving that strength, but it's also quite fluid in its movement. It's, you know, not too rigid. It's rigid enough that I can pass that through the beads quite easily. So I'm just taking the ends of my thread and joining that loop together by passing them through the spacer. And then as I pull them away, you can see I'm creating those lovely loops. So 2 spacers. If you can hear some banging in the background, I apologise, but it's sorry not sorry, because I'm getting my kitchen fitted today. Yay! 2 spacer beads. A glass pearl. Find that drill hole. And a crystal. So I think these would make really lovely necklaces for the party season. Anytime there's a little crystal in there, because the crystal's got a lovely faceted cut on it, it just gives an extra little shimmer. But what is really lovely about them, because they're only 3mm in size, they're nice and small and dainty. Camille, how long's a piece of string, my love? She's asking how long until the builders are done. I think we'll get the majority of stuff done over the next few weeks, and it may be almost finished by the end of January. Pushed back on a few things. I won't bore you with it, Camille. We've had a couple of hiccups, but you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. This weekend was quite eventful. My little one wasn't well, and it involved bleaching and cleaning bedding. I put most of it in the bath and most of it in the bin because I've not got a washing machine. I have, it's just not plumbed in. But the washing machine, has the washing machine arrived? I don't even know if the washing machine arrived. Not even kept track on it, to be honest. Getting there, slowly but surely. But I am getting in the festive mood. I've got my little ones kind of, he's not doing a nativity. It's like a festive song fest. So I'm looking forward to that this afternoon. I'm going to pick Mum up after the live and going to go watch that, which will be lovely. So I'm passing that back. Speed up a little bit. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go to 10 on this, but usually I would do 14. I think 14 gives me a nice length. You can see where that's sitting around my neckline at the moment. Just get some of these beads out. I'll speed up, I say, as I drop them. But it's a nice make to do. Very straightforward. You can adapt this to how you like to work quite easily in terms of the findings and the thread you want to use, but everything is included in your kit. And your bow necklaces today are just £6.99 or 2 for 12. I know, Joanne, I can't wait to just have a little bit of normality. It's been stressful. That's why I've really enjoyed making, because they say stressful things in life, moving house or building an extension, I think is one of them. I mean, there's worse positions to be in, isn't there? I have got a roof over my head, so you got to count your blessings. So having something like these bow necklaces to make just allows me to, like any craft, I always say it's really good for having any hobby or craft is really good for your mental health. It just allows you to have a little bit of time to just concentrate solely on what it is you're making. And, you know, just forget the world for a little bit. So 2 spaces, a pearl and a crystal onto one side, 2 spaces, a pearl and a crystal onto the other side, and then join those sides together. It doesn't matter if you put the spacer bead on the left hand tail or the right hand tail of your thread, as long as they both pass through, traveling in opposite directions. When you pull them away from each other, it will draw down into your next little loop section. So not too much more now, and I'll start showing you how to form that very pretty bow. Make sure I don't forget to put my crystals on as well. Just want to do a little pattern repeat. So this is the order that I'm putting on to each side. And then joining them together with that thread. So I'm just taking the tail end and pulling on it. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more and we'll leave it there. So I'm doing 14 sections on this. So in your necklace in full, I'll be using 200 centimeters of the nylon thread, which is about 80 inches. The nylon is a 0.25. I'm using about 150 pieces in total of the 4mm spacer beads, which is what I'm putting on now. I'm going to be using about 58 pieces of the 6mm glass pearls, which are these ones, and 61 pieces in total of these lovely 3mm crystals, and then using just one magnetic clasp and 2 of the jump rings, and that should be more than enough to give me a necklace which fits at a nice length for me. Of course, if you wanted to extend that, you could. If you wanted to make it shorter and have it sitting more like a choker, then you would just need to, I'd say this is probably like princess length, but if you wanted to adjust that, then you absolutely can. You just need to amend the, sorry, I've got a little knot in my thread that I'm just trying to take my crystal off. But yeah, you can adjust that to whatever you like. So for each side of my thread, I'm adding my 2 spacers, a glass pearl, and a little crystal, and then joining them back by passing that thread through the spacer bead like so. So what I would do here typically is I would make 14 of these, but for now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just doing 10. So I would have 14, which will be this side of my necklace. And then don't worry, you don't have to sit and watch me do it all over again. Here's one I've made earlier. So I would just do exactly the same. So I've got this section of my necklace. Now at this point, if you want to, you can join them together with your magnetic clasp. And what I'm going to do is, you can see I've got this thread here. I'm going to call my top thread. And then this one coming from this side, I'm going to call my top thread. Can you see the difference there? So as these splay out, this one's going to be my top, and as these 2 splay out as well, this one's going to be my top. I'm now going to join them together to form that little bow. So to do that, I'm going to take one of my little 3mm crystals, and I'm going to add that through one side of the thread, one of the top sides. So you can do it on the left or you can do it on the right, it doesn't matter. But I'm just going to take that one top thread from one side, and I'm going to add the crystal onto that. And then I'm taking that same thread and I'm going to pass it through the last spacer on the other side. So I'm going to bring that through out to there. Don't worry if these start to open up a little bit, your loops. We will tighten it up. Right. Then I'm taking the top side on the opposite side, and that too is going to go through that same little crystal that we've just added on. So it's going to pass through the crystal, like so. And then it's going to come through that spacer on the opposite side. So the last spacer on the opposite side, and bring that through. Now what should happen is I should now have 2 threads coming out of that spacer and 2 threads coming out of that spacer. And if I pull them together, they will start to form the bow. So what I'm going to do to tighten them up is I'm going to take the 2 coming out of one side, and again I'm just going to do a very simple overhand knot and draw them up together. And then with the other 2 I'm going to do the same, a little overhand knot, and that should draw those threads together like so. And then I think just to steady it up, I'm going to do another little knot. You can do a surgeon's knot if you want, or just another double knot. So I'm taking the 2 threads that are coming out of the spacer, and I'm just crossing them over. You can see I've got quite a lot of thread at the moment because I've not used it all to do the 14 sections on each side. Just a double knot just to tie them off. So that is now joined what's going to be my first little bow. And then I'm just going to add the little tail end of my bow. So I'm going to add 4 spacers. So I'm going to take both ends from one side. So the 2 tail ends that are coming out of the left for me. And I'm going to add 4 spacers, and they're going to go onto both of those tail ends. So I'm ignoring one side for now. And I'm going to add 1, 2. Again, you can do the tail ends of your bow however you want to. You could make it really large. You could make these loops larger, and you could make these longer. But I think just adding the 4 spacers on, then I'm going to add a crystal. Again, taking both tail ends up in the same direction. So I'm kind of using them as one. And then I'm going to take a pearl, so my 6mm pearl, passing them up, and then I'm going to finish with a little crystal again. So taking both ends up through the bead and then bringing them down. So that's how my tail end's going to work. And then I'm going to just tie that in a knot. Now what you can do is you can miss the crystal at the end, and you can travel your threads back up. You can also, if you want to, add maybe a little crimp cover onto it. But I just think tying a couple of knots in the end will keep all of my beads in place. And because I'm using that nylon thread, you won't see. Same again on the other side. Let's move those out the way for now. I'm going to take those 2 tails coming out of the bow on this side. You can see just how easy it is to shape this. I want it to be the same on both sides. So I'm going to add 4 of my spacers. 1, 2, making sure it's going on both ends of the thread. 3 and 4. Then I'm going to add a crystal, just to add that extra bit of twinkle. My glass pearl, and finishing off with that lovely sparkly 3mm crystal. Slide them right up to that spacer, and then taking both of those ends, just going to do a little double knot, just an overhand knot, or a surgeon's knot by wrapping that round the loop a couple of times. And also, if you wanted to, you could add a little dab of jewellery glue, or maybe you could add a little bit of clear nail varnish. I haven't, just left it as it is, and I haven't had any issues. And then I'm going to come in nice and close with my cutters and just trim off any of the ends, just to make sure that those little ends aren't too scratchy. And that, quite small at the moment, but that will be my little bow necklace. So this is how it looks when it's worn. Really easy to take off and on. I'm just going to use that magnetic clasp, clip it on, and these loops are going to sit nice and flat around the neckline. And your little bow you can turn out, or you can position. The nylon's got a little bit of memory to it, so you can flick it out and kind of shape it. I think it looks quite nice when you've got your sections of your necklace joined at the back with that magnetic clasp. It will just make these loops of your bow. Also, if you wanted to just reshape it a little bit, if you just put a little pressure in between those loops, that will kind of open it out as well. Trish, thank you so much. She says that's so pretty. These are our bow necklaces. They come in a range of beautiful colours. I'll take you very quickly back over to the website. We are totallybeads.co.uk. So if you would like to get your kits today to make these exact necklaces that I've just made, you can choose from all of these lovely colours. We've got a gorgeous buttermilk with a jet black, giving a monochrome look. We've got the beautiful ivory. In fact, I'll bring these up again so you can have a little look at them closer. We have a lovely olive, and we've got a blue and a rose as well. So if I just close them off, they're £6.99 today, or 2 necklaces for 12. So each kit will make up 1 necklace. If you'd like to get multiple ones, then you can make the most of that offer. In my hand at the moment are a couple. I've got the black one round my neck. Let's take that off. Look, I can take it off one-handed, so you can see the colours up close and how I've paired them together. So you can see here, this is the buttermilk. So you can see that's got the jet black with it. We've got the very pretty ivory, which is this one, and it's got these lovely kind of salmon, kind of peachy little twinkly crystals in that, which are particularly lovely. We have the olive, which has got a lovely green crystal running through it as well. Then we've got this lovely blue, which has got a twinkly kind of teal, I suppose, in terms of the crystal. And then we've got the rose, which has got the little pink crystals in it as well. So they're all £6.99 today, or you can multi-buy to make your very lovely bow necklaces. I'm going to definitely be wearing this out. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I do appreciate you being with me today, so thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me find, where have you gone? Where's my comments gone? Very elegant, says Fairness Born. Camille says it's lovely. Anastasia says it's so cute. Can't wait to get this kit. My sister and I are going to try and figure out which colour to get right now. Well, if you're both going to get one, then do your order together, Anastasia, and get the multi-buy deal on it. And if you are, sorry to disappear, just want to show you, if you're available on Wednesday. Wednesday's going to be my last Wednesday live of the year, so I'll be back on Monday again next week, but on Wednesday this week, I'm going to be making some lovely little necklaces. Oh, you can't see it, so bright. I'm going to be making these shimmery necklaces with you. They're really cute. They're not doing them any justice there in this light. So I'm going to be using some chain, some gorgeous pearls and some more gorgeous crystals. So if you can come and join me Wednesday, that is what I'm going to be doing. What have I named it? I think I've probably named it. Let me see. I named it Carol. There you go. I thought it might be a nice festive name. So come and join me on Wednesday at 10 a.m. if you can this week, and I'll show you how to make the Carol necklace. I hope you all have a very lovely start to the week, and I look forward to seeing you again.